session is mainly focused on understanding what predictive analytics is all about, and how you enable efficient decision making, and how you can integrate that decision making with business intelligence as an enabler. We look at different types of data sources and how and what kind of intelligence can be derived from these data sources. Just to give you a background, majority of the corporates over the last few years in different verticals have been using only quantitative figures, which constitute only 20% of their data sources, which means that remaining 80% of the data, which is unstructured in nature, has not been utilized for their decision making. So the focus of this presentation a little bit will also be on unstructured data, whether it is textual in nature or audio or video, and then see how and what kind of intelligence can be derived from unstructured data, and what can be integrated into decision making process. We'll also touch upon a little bit on social media analytics, if you will. Social media analytics essentially talks about what kind of different social chatters your customers produce, and what kind of avenues that businesses can capture from those social chatters in real time, and understand more about your customer. Coming on to the first slide, as I said, we will look into some of case studies and see how these case studies evolve into decision making. Now, to have a look at this data set is a home loan data set, a sample data set that we generated. And this data set has got a couple of variables, arranged in columns. The idea behind the case study that we will discuss for the next few minutes is to identify who is a delinquent customer and who is not. Identify those characteristics, develop a simple mathematical model, and use this mathematical model to score new customers. So a bank has this delinquent customers list along with non-delinquent customers with a proportion of 85 to 15%, 85 being non-delinquent customers and 15% being delinquent customers who are defaulting. Now they want to capture or learn from this data the characteristics of delinquent customers or default customers, and they want to score these the learning features that they have obtained on the new customers who are coming in the future. So a couple of variables like, what is the loan value and what is the reason why the customer has taken a loan from this bank, and when was the first time, or rather what are the different number of derogatory reports that are against this customer, and what is the age of the customer. So there are a couple of demographic information. There are some variables which talk about the loan characteristics, some variables which talk about age of the customer, and stuff like that. So we take the combination of these input variables and try to identify what characteristics do these delinquent customers have as compared to non-delinquent customers, right? So just going to a simple exploratory data analysis. Now, if you look at some of the visualizations that are possible in Excel, MS Excel, you can actually build a simple visualization just to understand what is the proportion that I have. So I see that nearly 80% of the customers are non-delinquent, or they have not really defaulted, and around 20% of the customers have actually defaulted. So this is just a simple exploratory data analysis which gives a frequency distribution of event versus non-event, whereas where event is those customers who have defaulted and non-event is those who have not defaulted. Now, if I really break this, frequency distribution into another cross-sectional variable, like what is the reason why these customers have taken the loan, and how this delinquent versus non-delinquent distribution has been distributed, I see that for debt consolidation, in fact, majority of them are falling under non-delinquent customers. Just to compare the home improvement reason, right? There are 23.22% of the customers who are not delinquent or who has paid their loans properly. They have opted this particular loan for their home improvement. Whereas 6.64% of those people who defaulted have taken the loan for their home improvement. So this kind of slicing and dicing is quite necessary and quite important for business managers to take a decision. So, if I say that, what are the different reasons why defaulters have, taken the loan for, maybe that reason can be an indication for me to decide whether a future customer will, default or not. So this kind of slicing and dicing, which is, typically called as multidimensional, cube, making a multidimensional cube, it's quite possible and, quite relevant for efficient decision making. And there are business intelligence tools that are available, like, SAS and SPSS, which are quite efficient in making these multidimensional cubes and providing them in, advanced visualizations for, efficient decision making for business. Now, moving on. So we saw this delinquent to non-delinquent ratio. We looked at, what kind of variables we have used. We would really want to know how these variables